Hey Vaughn, welcome.
Hi,
Hi. Familiar
how are
face.
you?
I'm good.
Great to meet you.
hmm Good to see some of you again.
So you were a book club attendee, right? Is that right?
I believe, but I also attended a prior open house where you were presenting. So I'm back again.
Yeah.
Woo!
Awesome. Awesome. I knew I recognized you from somewhere.
That's right.
Um, we had 10 people that were signed up today, and so far you're the only one. So you get all three of us today, Yvonne.
Good. And I'm actually joining to talk about the second half and listen in on the first half. So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah, so my
Good.
interest is in the advanced
Okay.
coaching.
Great. Great.
So and
All
maybe other
right.
people are doing the same, but I decided that I wanted to hear the first part too. If it, that's always an incentive.
Sure. Sure. Good deal. All right, well let's jump in, and this will be recorded for anybody else that maybe couldn't make it today and wanted to learn a little bit more about us. So if you don't know us, we are Pain Coach Academy, and today I'm joined by our brand new director, Chris, and
Hello.
also by our founder, Becky. Um, Kendi, who's our director for a long time, went into a well-deserved retirement recently, and so
Oh
we have some big shoes to fill. But we have a really good team, and I think we're going in a really fun direction with our school. So today, I wanted to just start by introducing Becky and give her a chance to share her story with chronic pain and kind of what led to forming this school. And then I'll let her share about our published study and talk about that a little bit more.
So I'm Becky, and I'm really glad to meet you, Yvonne, and anybody else who's listening. I'm glad that you have an interest in chronic pain coaching.
great. And I met you very, very long ago. So that's how far we go back. I met
Really?
you years ago.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm just continuing to have this interest and
that's great.
yeah.
It's a really important niche, and I came to it by accident. Literally, I was in a rollover car accident, broke my neck at C4, and was really suffering with burning nerve pain from the neck down, and discovered that there's lots of ways to manage my pain that do not include medications or injections or surgeries or procedures. That there were a lot of different things that I could do to manage my experience of pain. And I started implementing those things into my life. And then I decided I wanted to spend the rest of my life helping others who are in that pit of pain, and developed Take Courage Coaching before we had standards for health and wellness coaches. It was just kind of a free for all. It was the Wild West. And now our coaching school was one of the very first certified NBHWC certified health coaching schools. And I really feel like we've grown so much over the years. It's been really exciting to see the growth in the health and wellness coaching arena. And one of the most exciting things is a +1 study that's been done on the data that we've had um, with our coaching. We've been coaching since 2009, and we have been keeping track of some things, some data. When we have a patient that starts with us, they take a non-VA pain outcomes questionnaire, which tells you some things about pain on a scale of 1 to 10, activities of daily living, functionality, mobility, negative affect, and fear avoidance, some of those kinds of things. And what we notice in that first graph, the one to the left, is this is where people are when they start. And you can see that they have they have pretty high scores when they start. And at 6 months, they're making some progress. And at 12 months, we have moved mountains. I love the graph. And what that shows is, and I know it's a little bit hard to read here, but what it shows is that they had high scores when they start, and those scores started coming down. And that's what we want to see. We want to see the fear avoidance and the negative affect, even the mobility and activities of daily living. We want to see those scores come down. The farther down they are, the more functional the patient is. And it's just been so exciting to be part of moving mountains for people, to see where they start. They start at a pretty hopeless, depressed, highly medicated, sometimes laying in a back room for a long time, to getting out of bed and doing life and exercising, going back to work, getting off medications, and really, really living their life in a good, functional way. And so that is my part. And I think next, Chris is going to tell her story.
Okay.
Yes, happy to do so. So my story, I came to, was originally Take Courage Coaching, and now Pain Coach Academy. My story and Becky's story were kind of the two ends of the spectrum. People tend to come to pain coaching either because they've had an accident or because they have kind of systemic chronic pain, like fibromyalgia or migraines, and that's more me. I've had a history of chronic pain since I was a kid. Don't really have memory of not having headaches. Had headaches since I was a kid, escalated to neck pain, low back pain in my teenage years, very severe menstrual cramps, which didn't get diagnosed as endometriosis until I was 40. So 27 years of really bad cramps. And really tried everything, Eastern, Western, alternative, traditional, got some relief, but it was never quite what I was looking for. And then in 2020, I got to the point where I felt like I was being stabbed in the neck with hot pokers. And I was having 4 migraines a week. I felt like I was having electric shooting pain going down my leg. And I was really losing the will to live. And when they did the MRI of my neck, because I was going to get a spinal fusion, they found I also had thyroid cancer. And so it was just like, gosh, what am I going to do? So I had 2 surgeries. And while it did help reduce some of the pain, I still had a lot of pain and I was still having migraines. And one night I just had this thought, wonder if there's such a thing as a pain coach. And so I went on Dr. Google, and indeed there was. And so I started working with a pain coach through Take Courage Coaching. And then I decided to train to become a pain coach. And my life just changed and opened up. And it was really learning. I was in what I called the hole. I was in the hole of pain. And I got out of the hole, learning my strengths. I was forgetting I had strengths. Learning about the neuroscience of pain really helped me to rewire my nervous system and get out of this chronic fight or flight that I was in. And through going through the program too, I really developed some amazing relationships and friends and colleagues that I have to this day, that I talk to, several times a week. And I love this place. So much so that now I'm the director. They can't get rid of me. Kind of became a coach and then started instructing, and now I'm the director. So, our who we are, we had a name change a year ago because we realized we wanted to have a name that really accurately reflected who we are and what we do. And so at Pain Coach Academy, we educate our coaches in the science and the skills. We want to teach people about the neuroscience of chronic pain, because chronic pain is different from acute pain. And we want to teach people about the skills that people can have in pain management coaching, so that pain coaching can become the standard of care for people with chronic pain. So it's a pretty big thing that we want to do, but that's what we want to do. And our vision is to empower coaches to work with people to escape that grip of chronic pain, because it's not just the body, it's also the mind. And so we're engaging people with both the mind and the body and the heart and the soul. So I love it. I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I'm so glad you're here, Yvonne.
Me too.
Yeah. And here, like back, it seems like you're kind of circling round and round. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, and I'm already learning some new things. So what can I say?
Excellent. Well, that's what we do. Lifelong learners. All right, Paul, send it to you.
All right. I love the transition from, client to now a director. It's pretty neat to be able to look at we look at a graph and we can see, okay, this data is great. Great things happen for these people. But Chris, part of why we wanted to hire her as our director is because she has the experience, right? I think experience is everything when it comes to something like chronic pain, and knowing that people can transform. What's more powerful than someone who's actually applied it and transformed her life in a positive way. So pretty neat to see a real life example of a study, right? Studies are pretty impersonal, but with someone who can say, yeah, this really helped transform my life and changed who I am through all the work that she did, all the things she put in, and how her coach supported her through that. So let's dive into talking about our offerings. Currently we're offering both our health and wellness coach training, which for you, Yvonne, is already something you have. You already have your NBHWC. And so for those of you who may be listening to the recording, our health and wellness coach training course is a 17-week course that meets on Monday and Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific. And that course, there's something else I was going to mention about it. Anyway, it'll come to me. So that course is if you want to become certified through the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaches, which is the governing body for health and wellness coaching. We are an approved program. In order to sit for the national exam, you need to first take that course. So our course is it's pretty unique. We'll on the next slide here, we'll share kind of our curriculum and some of the different aspects of the course. But some of the benefits of our course, we really believe in personalized learning. So we do our best to keep our classroom small enough to where there's engagement in class, and our classes are a lot like this webinar so far, where it's pretty engaging. We want to hear from our students and let them kind of verbally process through some of the concepts and have a discussion. And we also, introduce these things to them in a way where they can practice it and kind of have a hands-on experience with coaching. Coaching isn't just like filling your head with this knowledge and then going out and doing it. It's something you have to really practice and keep up on in order to be a successful coach. So we really build in a lot of practicum and a lot of practical skills work into our coaching course. In addition to that, I know when I was learning to be a coach, I needed a lot of mentoring. There were some things that just didn't come naturally to me. So I needed someone to kind of help guide me through that and to learn different ways of, just communicating with people and different ways of helping them, achieve their vision for life. So, we have we offer 3 mentoring sessions in the course of that training. So we pair you up with a mentor and have you submit a recorded call. The mentor kind of puts together a mentoring session with you, and you go over the call and just learn what your strengths are as a coach. And really, we kind of work from a strengths-based approach where we do our best to really help you bring out what are your natural abilities, what are you really good at in coaching, and help you build on that foundation, and also work on anything that you want to improve on in that. So that's one key aspect of our health and wellness training course, is we give you, a lot of the practical hands-on skills, and we give you a lot of feedback from very experienced instructors that have been coaching clients in chronic pain for a lot of years. So that's the health and wellness coach training program in a nutshell. And like I said, on the next slide, we'll go over and talk about some of the curriculum and some of the different aspects of it. The other offering that we have is our advanced coach training. And this is for someone who has either already gone through our health and wellness coach training course, or who has gone through an approved program and is eligible to sit for the national exam. So that's the prerequisite to take our advanced pain coach training. One of the nice things about our advanced training course, we refer to it as AT. So if you hear AT, you'll know what we're talking about. One of the nice things about it is that it fulfills the 3-year requirements of the NBHWC for continuing education credits. So the NBHWC requires 36 CEUs within a span of 3 years. So every 3 years, you have to get your 36 continuing education units in. And our training offers all of those. So you can, it's kind of a one-stop shop for continuing education units. In our advanced training course, we go more in depth in a lot of the skills development. So one of the foundational parts of our advanced training is teaching our students how to facilitate and coach a group session. So this class meets every Tuesday and Thursday. On Tuesdays, it's a 2-hour class from 3 to 5 Pacific. And on Thursday, it's a 1-hour class from 3 to 4 Pacific. And our Tuesday class is dedicated to different concepts, different teachings that help the coach become a more well-rounded coach in the area of chronic pain. So we go really in depth into neuroscience. We go more in depth into a lot of the different pain tools and different things that we coach our clients on. Thursdays are dedicated to the group practicum. So every Thursday we have a 1-hour group practicum where students can practice their coaching skills and can learn how to run a group for someone in chronic pain, which can be a challenging thing. It's really a new form of coaching that can be really transformative. I think almost every client I've had, when they get done with the program, they say, it was really helpful having one-on-one sessions were really helpful in helping me implement things, but the group sessions were where I really took off, because I had a support system. I had people who understand what it's like to go through chronic pain. And I also, in the group sessions, we can introduce tools and different ways for the clients to, transform their lives and use different tools that help them manage pain and become more free of maybe the passive treatments for pain. You can kind of use active tools instead. So so that's our advanced training in a nutshell. And I'll go on to our next slide here and just share our health and wellness curriculum a little bit, talk about that some. So we have a, obviously we're a pain school. And so there's a little bit of an emphasis on chronic pain in our health and wellness curriculum. We go into talking about the pain brain and neuroplasticity, which talks about the brain's ability to change and transform. It's what Chris was talking about with her experience going through the coaching, where she was able to kind of become aware of her ability to change, and then took that, brought that into action. So we also talk about the stages of change, mind-body connection, and our approach to coaching, because we coach people who are in a really dark place. Like Chris said, she was in a hole when she first started. We found that motivational interviewing is a very helpful tool in helping people uncover motivation for change. That when we get overwhelmed with something like chronic pain, it's really challenging to just find the resolve, or find the courage to kind of dig yourself out of that hole. And so motivational interviewing in the spirit of MI is really foundational in in being our primary form of communication. We don't do just pure motivational interviewing all the time, but it's very foundational to helping people kind of uncover their ability to change and the reasons for change, and then going out and doing something about it. So so yeah, Chris, was there anything that I missed there that you want to share, talk about in regards to our curriculum?
I think you've got it covered. I mean, it's really well balanced. It's got everything you need to take the national exam. I think the content is very well laid out for that, plus a lot of great content that covers chronic pain. And then the advanced pain on top of that, you get even more, plus the group coaching. So I found that the two together, it was like this great kind of foundation with the health and wellness that gave me everything I needed for kind of that health and wellness foundation, and then to go take that exam, plus the pain basics. And then, when I first came into the program, all I really wanted was the advanced pain, because I was in so much pain, so I was like, I just want that advanced pain. I don't know what this health and wellness thing is, but and then I understood, and I was like, oh yes, okay, I understand. And motivational, I didn't know anything about MI. I was like, I don't know what this motivational interviewing thing is, and then I came to love it. And it changed the quality just of my interpersonal conversations in my life too. So I really think this curriculum is really well balanced. So I think it's got a lot of good content in it. Yeah. But I think if are there any questions about the content, I think this would be a nice time to open it up just about questions on the content.
That would sounds like it's my turn.
Yeah, Yvonne, or we've got somebody new here now, Ashley.
Okay.
Hi, Ashley.
Okay. I did have a question about when you mentioned that you use motivational interviewing, but not 100%. So could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So we find that motivational interviewing is very helpful for someone that is, the trans-theoretical model, right? There's the pre-contemplative, and then the contemplative, where someone is either they're very dug in and they don't want to change, or they are contemplative about change, right? So they're very ambivalent, right? There's pros and cons to change. So we find that for someone that's in that place, that motivational interviewing is very helpful, because we can just engage with them and maybe give them an opportunity to kind of shift their way of thinking. I think MI is a great tool for allowing someone to see both sides of what's going on. So, for example, yesterday I taught a class in the advanced training on sustained talk and discord. And sustained talk is that, right? It's that kind of the defense of the current behavior, ambivalence about the current behavior. So we talked about different strategies, different reflections that, first and foremost have to come from the heart, right? If we're just doing a technique on someone, then, it's really just manipulation, right? We're just trying to get them to change. And so the heart of motivational interviewing is really about the spirit, which is unconditional positive regard, belief in that person's ability to kind of forge their own path and do their own thing. So that's where MI is really helpful. And I think when someone, starts to shift out of that place of pre-contemplation about change and they become more empowered and they become more positive, that's where other tools come into place. We use, and this is a very helpful tool for someone that's pre-contemplative as well, but we use a lot of positive psychology. So, we teach a lot about the PERMA model and different ways of kind of changing the way that we think and changing the way that we go about living in the world. Appreciative inquiry is also another kind of foundational part of our coaching approach, and that is really based on the idea that there are things, for anyone, there's something that's working, there's something that's going well. And so we teach our students how to apply that in a coaching relationship where you are kind of evoking and drawing that positivity out of that person, listening for what's going right and learning how to kind of draw attention to that while also validating the struggle. That's something that's really hard to do when someone's in a really negative place. We want to talk about their struggle. So we work on kind of finding a balance there in a way that really honors autonomy and all that good stuff. Some of the other tools, we talk a lot, you can see here, there's a class on self-compassion and also, yeah, Chris could probably talk more about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big one with people in chronic pain. Often you can get really frustrated that you're not able to do what you want. You can start to get hard on yourself. So just the idea of self-kindness. There's also a lot of misconceptions on what self-compassion is. It can be like, oh, you're going to pity yourself. When I first heard of self-compassion, I was being very hard on myself that I couldn't get back to work. So the idea of self-compassion was very helpful for me and very foreign to anything I'd been raised with. Mm-hmm. And it was very helpful for me to be, oh, I can be kind to myself. I don't need to be beating myself up that I can't get back out there immediately. And, global or common humanity is part of that. Like, oh, I'm not the only one who's struggling. Because there can also be things like with automatic thoughts, things like catastrophizing, blowing things out of proportion, black and white thinking. So having that awareness of things like that, learning about strengths and values. So just having that awareness of bringing those types of things and the mind-body connection.
Yes.
Yeah, having that awareness of the mind-body connection, and learning about that, and bringing that type of education to clients, I think is really helpful.
Mm-hmm. So how do you, what aspect of the mind-body connect? Because I'm very interested in that, but I'd like to know how that, how do you bring that in during the curriculum, or what aspects of that are you focusing on?
Paul, do you want to talk a little bit more about that class?
Sure. And I think one of the things that's really helpful for someone in chronic pain to understand is how much the nervous system is involved in pain, and how really our thoughts affect pain as well. So I don't personally teach that course, so I don't know, in depth. I don't know if I can speak to all of the things that get covered in that course, but at the heart of it is kind of teaching and understanding of how the mind and the body are involved in chronic pain, and also how to coach someone who's in that place. I think it's really challenging when we are in fight or flight, like when our nervous system is all ramped up and we're in this place of fear and discouragement. It's really hard to heal. I mean, the body doesn't know how to heal when it's in that state. So we talk about how do you start with someone who's just demoralized. A lot of our clients come to us from the workers' comp system or from the VA. So their program isn't, they're not paying out of pocket for it. They don't have a lot of skin in the game. So sometimes when we start coaching them, they're in a place where they're very skeptical, they're very negative, they're very unsure about how is this going to, help my real pain. And really the key to that is for them to have some openness to embrace new skills and new techniques and new tools. Different, maybe different breathing techniques, different ways of kind of becoming aware of how their nervous system is affecting their pain. Is kind of that first starting point. So that's something we talk about a lot in the mind-body connection class, and also in other classes, is how do we engage with someone who isn't ready to change and is fearful of change, and what tools could they use once they start to kind of make that turn.
There could be a lot of fear of movement, a lot of belief, like there's a lot of thought. People almost think of themselves as a robot. So there's a lot of, oh, I've hurt and it must only be tissue damage. And bringing in that neuroscience understanding of how chronic pain is different than acute pain really can begin to open the eyes of our clients and have them understand, I don't have to be trapped. I have power within my nervous system, within my brain, to begin to change my experience of pain. And so a lot of the classes that we have with things like the mind-body connection, things like the pain, brain, and neuroplasticity, really help to help our coaches understand that they can then help their clients understand that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my pain, and when I told you my story, I mean, I've had pain most of my life, a lot of rewiring to do, and me using the word rewiring is almost like me seeing myself as a robot or a computer, but I kind of like to say rewire the brain to experience less pain. And so with that thought of the rewiring of the nervous system and the brain, chronic pain can start to take over parts of your brain. You can't think as clearly, you can't function as clearly. And so when we can start to, re-educate our clients as coaches, it's very empowering. Because when you've had chronic pain and you've gone from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor, and you're really desperate to get help, can be very disempowering.
Mm-hmm. And
so when you start to realize, oh, wait, this is how this works. This is, it's fairly recent in the history of medical science what neuroscientists have begun to realize of how chronic pain works. And so, you know, as coaches, we get to learn this, and then we get to pass this on to our clients. It's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
So my final question, I think, is that Paul mentioned that the later program, the advanced program, focuses a little more on group coaching. But I notice in the health and wellness curriculum, there's group coaching. So you do like the intro to group coaching and then later build on that?
That's a good way of putting it. In our health and wellness course, we kind of introduce it to the clients or to the students. And we have a little bit of time, as you see here, there's a couple different practicums where they have an opportunity to do just a short group session. In our advanced training, we really open that up to where, you know, every week someone is leading a group. And, you know, students typically get at least one opportunity to do a 45-minute group with the other students, and sometimes two, depending on class size. They may get two opportunities to lead a group. And I find that through that, I mean, one of the things we really believe in in our education model is, you know, learning through interaction with other people. And sometimes, you know, the best things we learn are from observing other people. So, you know, every week when we're having a group, there's an opportunity to take something that someone else did and say, oh, that's interesting how they went about doing that. I might apply that to my group. I remember when Chris was going through, to put you on the spot here, Chris, when Chris was going through our advanced training, there were some things she did in her group that I was like, oh, that's an interesting way of going about it. I might steal some of that. So it's one of the few places where stealing is highly encouraged, and we all kind of learn from each other through that. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of think of like the health and wellness is like the bachelor's, and the advanced training is like the master's.
Okay.
I actually, Paul, I actually just pulled up the a visual of the curriculum for the advanced pain. If you want me to do a share screen, I
Yeah,
can
go ahead and share that.
Yeah. Put that over here. Do a share screen real quick. Working on the fly here, folks. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. So here you can see, this is the advanced. Sorry, it's not pretty on a slide. But so you want to speak to this, Paul?
Sure. So our, you know, one of the first parts of this is just learning to understand what a pain client is like. So if you've done just regular health and wellness coaching, you're usually working, like I said before, you're usually working with someone who's very interested in change, right? They come to you really hungry to make a change, and they want to, maybe they already have a plan. They have things that they want to work on with their coach. With the pain client, there's usually two different sides of it. Either they come in kind of really stuck in their ways and they're feeling like, man, I don't have, really don't have the desire to do anything different. Yeah, I'm miserable. I'm in pain, but I really don't want to do anything different than what I'm already doing. They have, you know, kind of these rigid beliefs about their pain. Or someone who wants to change, like has this huge desire to change and wants help with their pain, but doesn't really have the confidence to you know, go about it yet. So, you know, as you can see in our curriculum here, one of the foundational parts of this is just helping our students understand what it's like to coach someone in chronic pain. It's a very challenging population to coach. And so the more we can understand kind of where they're starting at, and then what are some of the things that we can develop as a coach that empower us to have confidence to coach someone who's in that really dark place, and to be that support for them that can help them move to a better place. So that's kind of where we start. And then we go more in depth with the brain pain connection. and talk more in depth about, okay, practical skills for coaching someone in pain. You know, how do we engage with certain situations, certain scenarios where you know, maybe someone's really angry, or someone's really depressed, or someone's really anxious because of their pain. And obviously, as coaches, we need to stay in our, you know, in our scope of practice. But you know, the reality is we're going to be working with people who are in a really dark place. So just understanding a little more about the pain brain, right, and how it works and how it can transform is really part of that. We also talk about movement therapy. I mean, for anyone who's in a lot of pain, it's very challenging to move. It's one of those things that, you know, most of our clients will say, man, I'd love to move, but you know, every time I do, I'm flared up for 3 or 4 days in bed. So it just, you know, it's like 1 step forward, 3 steps back. And so in that class, we get really in depth with talking about how do we engage with someone and kind of help draw out their creativity and maybe draw out their courage to get up and move, and what that looks like. So we talk a lot about that. Pain management tools. So this is a course that I teach, and we talk about all the different modalities and tools that we use in coaching. A lot of these tools are introduced in our group coaching, in our actual coaching program, but we also talk about how you would introduce tools in a coach-like way in a one-on-one session. This is something I think coaches struggle with sometimes because we don't want to be directive. And so we, in that class, we really explore how to introduce pain management tools, you know, mindfulness, breathing, sleep hygiene, all this stuff in a way that is non-directive, it is coach-like, and keeps us in our scope of practice. This class, navigating discord and sustain talk, it's one I just taught yesterday. So discord is really this place where there's kind of clashing. There's, you know, maybe the client has one agenda and the coach has another agenda. So we talk about, you know, how to neutralize ourselves, how to go into a coaching call, a place where our heart is totally neutral, right? We don't have an agenda for this person other than to engage with what they want to get out of life. So we talk about discord and what, you know, how this is sometimes inevitable that we're going to run into discord. But how to repair the relationship if there has been a place of discord or you know, kind of a clashing of agendas. We also talk about sustain talk. So this is the MI term for when someone is really dug in and they're very ambivalent about change. And so we went over, like last time, we went over a lot of different scenarios and just kind of practice this together on how do we engage with someone who's in a place of wanting to stay the same, not wanting to change, but also having maybe a little hint of, you know, wanting something different. How do we help them move towards something that they really want? Reducing stress and fear. This is one that Chris teaches. I should probably let you talk about that a little bit, Chris.
Oh, well, I've said before, pain and anxiety are like peanut butter and jelly. They share the same neural pathways. And so if you can reduce that fear, that anxiety, it can really help to reduce the pain as well. I've certainly found for myself that, you know, when I start to feel a migraine come on, I also start to, you know, hear those fearful voices come up. And it's like, wow, what's going on here? So when we can tune into that, when we can so learning about all of the patterns of how do stress, how does fear, how does that cycle of pain and fear, like how do they go together, and what are some tools to reduce that fear, reduce that stress, and we have some really great conversations around stress and fear. What are, you know, definitions of them? How do they work? And how does it work in the nervous system? We learn about the 2 branches of the nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, and how they work together, and how to really start to calm the nervous system, which can then calm the pain. it's probably one of my favorite classes. So yeah, it's really powerful.
The next one on addiction and chronic pain is, kind of goes hand in hand with the state of people in pain these days, where they've been given one tool to manage their pain, which is usually an opioid. And, almost everyone that I start with they have one tool, that's pain meds. So in that class, we talk about how to, not just the how to, but kind of like, how do we connect with someone and engage someone who is kind of one dimensional in their way of thinking, where they feel like, man, the only thing that's going to take the edge off for me is pain meds, and you better not try to take them away from me, right? That's kind of the initial feel that someone has. And we find that over time, as people learn to engage more with the tools and they become more empowered and they feel more equipped to handle pain, that we don't even have to bring pain meds up in the conversation. They on their own will find a way to replace some of those passive forms of management with more active forms. And so that class goes in depth into talking about addiction and some of the challenges that our clients face, and how to navigate that as a pain coach. We also have a class on suicide prevention. So this is something that that does come up from time to time. So kind of protocols, procedures, ways of interacting with someone who is maybe in a place of suicide ideation. Anger and acceptance. So this, pretty self-explanatory. There's a lot of anger in the pain world where, a lot of our clients feel very victimized by what they've been through, and very, not at peace with where they're at. So we talk about, some of that emotion along with acceptance, and what that looks like in a coaching relationship. And, as with all of our classes, there's a lot of practical hands-on interaction that we engage people in that class, where we explore different ways of coaching through that. Visioning and strengths. This might be one of my favorite coaching concepts ever. You might be saying, well, how do you coach someone who is hopeless, who doesn't want to change, who's fearful of doing anything different? And the thing that we always go back to is learning how to create a vision with someone, and using that as the foundation, so that if they're getting discouraged or they're getting down on themselves, we can go back to their vision, and they can be reminded that that's who they really are, right? They're the person in their vision that is looking to transform their life into that. It's really who they are. When you pull all the other stuff away, they're really that person who is whole, who is complete, who has all these strengths and values and abilities. So that's a little bit about visioning, and then science of mindfulness and burnout. So one of the key things for a pain coach is to be mindful. We have to be in the present moment at all times. And it's also a very taxing, it's a difficult coaching population. As I said, it's a difficult job to be a pain coach. So we talk a lot about burnout strategies, and really teach our students how to maintain self-care in a way that fits who they are. So it's kind of personalized, and we go in depth into different strategies for just improving our effectiveness as a coach, through first making sure that we have our seatbelt on, and we're in a good place emotionally and physically and mentally and everything else. So.
And it looks like all three of our guests are here for the AT program. Yeah, they're all board certified. Ashley is here. She did the Duke Health and Wellbeing program. And Teresa is a graduate of the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. Wonderful. And Yvonne went to FMCA as well. Oh, and Ashley's taking the board in November. Good luck, Ashley. Wonderful. Well, we're so glad you're all here. All right, if you want to share your screen now.
Sure. Are there any other questions on the advanced training, or anything you'd like to know more about?
Well, yes. I
Oh,
gave
they're
everyone a
fighting.
second. I gave everyone a second to leap in. So I'd like to know, the next slide kind of tells me when it starts, and that's one of the other things I wanted to know. And yeah, that's the big thing. I wanted to know when it starts. And just as much as you can say, I've spent many years as a coach, and I worked in functional medicine and with other populations. So as much information as you can provide on how that working with other populations would be different. Would I have a lot to learn if I haven't specifically? I've had patients with chronic pain, and that's why I want to know more about it. But how much of a journey of learning will I?
think everyone has some level of suffering. So there's a lot of crossover with other things. If you coach someone with autoimmune, they deal with a lot of fear a lot of the time. They deal with stress. They deal with a heightened nervous system. And so there's going to be overlap there for sure. I think there's definitely some things you can take from coaching anyone that will help you have a good handle on how to coach someone in chronic pain. That being said, there may be some parts of the neuroscience or the group coaching that is new. Because I think coaching a pain group is a lot different than coaching maybe just maybe a weight loss group or something like that. So that answers your question, Vaughn. But I think you can expect there to be maybe some overlap from your past experience, but also maybe some new development in some different areas. So.
Yeah, I can see already based on the curriculum that you've identified that there would be things, boy, that would have been helpful with that patient that I had or the patients that I'm dealing with. So good. I also appreciated what was said before from Chris talking about her pain history. I found myself in that. That's why I said, I learned a lot from what you said, because as a human being, as a younger person, I had cluster headaches, like you had migraines. I had a 2.5-year completely debilitating back problem. And where everybody was all lined up for my back surgery and all that. And I didn't do that, and I didn't need it. But it was kind of learning some of the tools by accident that you're talking about that helped me. So, I'm hearing that, like, whoa, I could have been a pain patient. I wasn't. One other thing I wanted to mention when you were talking, excuse me, when you were talking about addiction, and the common discussion is about medications and that kind of thing, opioids and whatnot. And I found out what was a real motivator for me is recently learning the impact of all those thousands of ibuprofens and other things and the damage that I subsequently had to other organs like my kidneys from having done that. So, because that was my go-to. I feel a pain. Where's my pill? And I minimized that because I was prescribed more medication than I took, but even the level I took was damaging.
Yeah.
So I'm just feeling like, boy, no wonder you're interested in this stuff.
Right? We tend to be called to what we've experienced.
Now, one final thing. Now I'm currently working with functional medicine patients in general. But the specific work that my practitioner is interested in is cancer patients. And there's potentially, we haven't had that many where that was a big focus, but, you know, pain can be a big part of the cancer journey. So any comment that you might have about some things that might be related, that I might benefit from in this training, which I'm interested in regardless.
Yeah.
You know, what stands out to me is the fear, fear and stress. And, you know, a lot of the courses we teach, I think would be very helpful for someone, working with someone who might be in a hopeless place, right? Where they're having a hard time aligning with that hope. And, I think for someone who is, in cancer treatment, there can be a lot of hope. And I think that's a key to, it's a key for anyone that's trying to heal, is to have hope. So
Yeah.
that kind of stands out as something that might be beneficial or helpful there.
All right.
I'm thinking of some of the tools to calm the nervous system. Actually, I just started with a cancer patient yesterday, and that's a big part of what she wants to work with, is just calming the nervous system. Because of course your fight flight is, kind of worked up. And so how do you find those ways of calming yourself when you're faced with such a journey? And she also has other types of pain aside from the cancer pain in her body. So, and of course, all of the regular coaching tools, creating your vision. What are your goals? So that your life isn't getting smaller and smaller, but that you still are having a life.
Exactly. Beautiful. Loving it. What are some of your graduates, because you've offered this quite often, what are some of your graduates now doing? Are they all working for themselves or working for other practitioners, or what?
A good mix. Some of our graduates work at Hinge Health, which is a kind of a MSK type of company. Some work for Karuna Labs. Some work for Fern Health. So a lot of them have gone kind of that route of coaching for a company, and a lot have gone their own route. I know Chris has done that.
Yep.
Building her own business and kind of finding their niche. I think that's a really fun part of coaching, where you can find a niche and say, I really tend to relate well with this type of person, this person that's going through this struggle. So, it's hard to say. I don't keep the best tabs on where everyone is now, but I would say that's kind of the trend, is there's kind of a mix of both.
Did you mention Karuna Labs? Some people are Karuna Labs.
Yeah.
What is that?
Karuna. Yeah. And we have some questions too in the chat. I know we're at time, and Ashley had some. Did you need to go, Ashley? She said, thank you, needed to go. I want to make sure we answer her question. Oh, you don't need to go? Okay. I just want to make sure we get Teresa, and Ashley had a couple of questions in the chat. So Ashley says, so she's taking the board in November, and she wants to do the advanced training in the spring. When is the application deadline for the training starting on the 16th of January? So she's not sure when she'll get her board results. It usually takes about a month, Ashley. That was my experience anyway, unless they change it. I got mine about a year and a half ago. So there's not necessarily a deadline. We are, if you want to show the next slide, Paul, we do have a discount that we're giving if you enroll by December 15th you'll get a 10% discount. So you probably, Ashley, would not, well, if you got that, if you got the results by the 15th of December, you would be able to get that 10% discount, because you asked about, are there scholarship opportunities? The scholarship, so you would get a 10% discount. Paul, do we have scholarships? Ashley and Teresa, I just became the director this week. So that's why I'm deferring to Paul on some of these. Do we have scholarship opportunities?
No, we've done that in the past. We're still,
Thanks, Ashley.
I still need to look and see if that's something we could offer this time around. We really believe in, in helping people that are passionate about this, who can't maybe afford it. I mean, we just had a guy go through our health and wellness course that was a former client as well, and really transformed his life. And now his life mission is to help people in pain. So it's something to keep your eyes out for. And, if there is something that becomes available, we'll make sure you guys receive that in an email. Something you can apply for. I don't know if we're going to do it this time around, but it's possible.
Okay.
The other thing I should clarify is that the prerequisite to take our advanced training is that you've gone through an approved program. So you don't have to have your certification necessarily. You just have to be approved to sit for the exam in order to take
And
the
that was Teresa's question. She said, I'm not yet board certified. I plan to take the exam in March or July. Do I need to be board certified to enroll? So no, if you've taken a board or an NBHWC approved program, you can take the course. Is that correct, Paul?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So you don't have to have taken the exam yet. So when you spoke with Kendi, yes, she was the director before me. So I'm stepping into her very large shoes. She said I could take it this fall. So yes. Yes, the advantage of taking it after you've taken the exam is, yes, you can use these CEs. You can get the CEs. I took this before I got my exam. And so, yes, I was not able to use these CEs. I just took it because I really wanted to take it. So yes, that was my experience too. As I'm like, oh, I want to take it again. Let's see, did I get all of Ashley's questions? So are there certain companies? So yes, we did discuss that. You're free to unmute and ask any other additional questions if you have them, Ashley and Teresa, or you can put them in the chat.
So I have question is, if I wanted to wait to apply until I had become board certified so I can get the CEUs, how often do you offer the advanced program?
Right now it's it's twice a year.
Twice a year. Okay.
About every 6 months. Yeah.
Got it.
We'll have one in January and then I guess another one in the fall.
And then my other question was, typically how many people what's the upper limit of enrollees for the advanced program, and typically how many do you have?
I think our limit is about 15 in the advanced training. We like to keep it pretty personalized. So the most you'll ever have is about 15 to 20 in the advanced training. Typically, so right now we have a group of, I think we have 7 that are going through the advanced training right now. So it's a pretty, pretty tight-knit, closer group, and we give a lot of individualized instruction. So that's pretty typical, about 7 to 10, somewhere in there.
Great, thank you.
And then Ashley, it looks like an amazing program. As an individual with chronic pain myself, I appreciate everything you're doing. Hope to take it next year. We hope to have you. We hope to have all of you. As somebody who instructs in the course, I have to say, I love interacting with the students in the course. Everybody brings a lot, like the other students bring a lot to the course. We have really fantastic conversations about the content. It's not just, instructors blabbing the info. We really like it to be a conversation. So we all learn a lot from each other as well. So use this, if you register by December 15th, use the code earlybird 2024 and you'll receive 10% discount. We also, if you know other people who you think would benefit from the health and wellness program, let them know about the discount as well. We do have bundles for people who want to do the two together.
Here's another question for you. Are either of you going to be at the Lifestyle Medicine Conference
Oh, yeah.
next month or end of the month?
I'm going to go to the NBHWC meetup because I live in Denver.
Okay, great.
Where are you located? Are you?
I'm in Northern California in Redding.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But my husband and I are going to be going to the conference.
Okay, well, I'll meet you there.
Great.
Woohoo. How about Yvonne and Ashley? Where are you? Are you either of you going to that?
No, I'm just this minute hearing about it. So
Oh, okay. Where are you located, Yvonne?
I'm just outside of Cleveland and Beechwood, Ohio.
Oh, okay. And Ashley, where are you located? You put it in the chat if you can't say it out loud. It's top secret. Oh, Rio Grande Valley. Nice. Nice. Nice and warm. Nice and warm.
Where is the conference?
It's in Denver.
Denver, and what dates? Because I'm very interested in lifestyle.
It's soon. It's in a couple of weeks.
It's the last week in December. I think the opening is on the is it the 29th, I think, through the Sunday the 29th through Wednesday the 1st. And it's the American College in Denver, American College of Lifestyle Medicine, ACLM 2023, I think.
Okay.
They have a specific conference website.
Okay, did you say it was December?
No, I meant to say October.
Okay, I got you. That's too bad.
Wonderful. Do we have other slides, Paul?
That's pretty much everything.
Oh, that's the last one.
Yeah, I didn't get to yeah.
We took questions as we went.
So if you guys have any questions at all, please, feel free to reach out to Chris or I. We're happy to just talk to you, personally about anything that you want to know more about. We're always available. So feel free to reach out by email or, we're happy to give you a call as well on our website. My phone number is listed in the top right corner. So if you want to get a hold of me anytime, feel free to give me a call and reach out. Love to talk to you guys more about this. So
thank you so much for attending.
Thank you.
It was great to meet you.
You both, you are good to see you, Yvonne, and yeah. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and all the best.
All right.
Great. I will try and catch up with you at the conference, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
All right.